author and nutritionist Robert Ferguson. Please welcome Robert Ferguson.
All right, y'all, let's hear it for America's Fat Loss Coach, Robert Ferguson!
Hey, this is Roberto Lorenzo Ferguson. What's up, everybody? Hey, if you are catching me live, I want to say thank you for being here because I'm going to share something with you that's going to blow your mind. And you know me, whenever I say it's going to blow your mind, it does blow your mind. You got to give me props on that because I don't think I'm letting you down. I'm sharing information that maybe you never thought about. I'm sharing information that puts you in the winner seat so that you are a little bit more informed. And when you're informed, you're less likely to be misguided or influenced to do things that ain't really helping you. You know what I mean? Because we're going to talk about something that I think everybody needs to know. And that thing that we're talking about is food. And believe it or not, I was doing a presentation for a bunch of dietitians. That means people who have spent 4 to 6 years in school learning about nutrition so they can help people. I had a bunch of physicians who spent a whole bunch of time in school. I had some personal trainers also part of this. And I've been wanting to share this with you guys for a while because I asked a question to all of these people. Okay, and then there was, health advocates and just people who felt they knew a lot about nutrition. And I asked them a question. And not one person in the room knew the answer. Not one person. Hear me. Okay, this is going to be fun because, that just blew my mind. And it's one of those things where the answer is so obvious, but it was so obvious that, that no one knew. And at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, if we believe that food is medicine and medicine can be food, you would think that everyone would know the answer to what I'm about to share with you. Now, before I dive in and share with you that answer, I'm going to also pose a question. Maybe you guys know, but let's just kind of get the ball rolling. And let me just highlight the fact that the question of today is, what is food? And if you didn't have to think about it, if you just had to answer it, give me your quick, no one's in trouble. There's no bad answer. There's no wrong answer. But what is food? If your kid looked at you or your grandchild is 5, 6, 7 years old, and they say, Mama, Daddy, Grandpa, Mama, Grandpa, what is food? Right? Like, how would you answer that? What is the proper answer if someone were to say or ask, what is food? Or if you had to explain what food was, how would you explain it? So what is food? Right? Like, what is it? Like, what is food? Now, as you guys are posting some responses, let me give a big shout out to those who are here. And I want to encourage you to go to our YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell so that if you don't catch me on Facebook, you can always have access to the things that we share. And I share because I care, and everything that we share is substantiated. Now, this episode is brought to you by our program called the 6-day or the 7-day. Well, it's called the Detox Drop, where you drop it like it's hot. And today, I put it out there. Yesterday, we had a big special on July 4th, and we included our workbook, which is that's $50 by itself. So if anyone gets our supplements today that go with the detox, so they've done it before, or they just get the detox drop for the first time, we're going to just put inside of their detox drop the workbook. So I gave people today until 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, but I'm just going to let it go all the way to where the clock runs out. So, and we're going to go with Pacific time because that's the time that I am on. So when it is 3 a.m. on the 6th, it's over for people on the East Coast. If you go by Pacific, then, at 11:59, that'll be the last. You have 1 minute left to take advantage of this opportunity. Okay. If you know a friend, maybe you're going to do a detox again, do a detox again and give them the workbook. Or maybe you want the workbook and then give someone the detox or just use it for yourself. That's totally up to you. Okay. So let's get into this. Okay. I see a couple answers. Catherine says, when I ask a question like, what is food? Something you eat. Very good answer. Sandy Silver, what's up, Sandy? She says, food is nutrition for our bodies. And then someone, I didn't get their name, but they said, food is energy. Everyone's correct. But when I ask these people in the room, can someone define for me what is food? And everyone in the room got quiet. So then I said, well, let's look at how the FDA defines food. And they define food in a round and about way, something that is low in calories, low in sodium, low in saturated fat, and high in magnesium. What the hell does that mean? And then if you go on the website for the USDA, you're not going to find a definition of food. So what is it? When you have all these doctors, all these dietitians, all these personal trainers, all these health advocates, all these people that are talking about getting healthy, and not one person can answer the damn question when I ask what is food, not one person. Okay, well, I'm going to answer it for you. And I'm going to share with you why it's important to actually know what food is, right? So I know I talk a lot about food as medicine. There's a big movement in the health plan industry, you know, the Aetnas and the Anthems and the Molinas and United Healthcare. They're talking about food as medicine or food prescriptions. And we know that Hippocrates once said, to paraphrase him, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. And he also said that all disease begins in the gut. Okay, so food obviously is important. Food is important. Okay, so I would write this down, or I would reflect back on what I'm about to share, because one, I think it will help you, because we all believe that food can be helpful. I mean, it tastes good, it's fun, it's enjoyable, but let's define it. Okay, so when you look at food, if I were to give my description, it will sound like I'm in a biology class. Because food is a substrate, which I'll define what that is, that contributes to growth or burning of an organism. Okay, so growth is a positive thing, and burning of an organism, okay, that's nice to know that it can be burned, right? Because steel, I mean, you can burn it, but it's not like it's going to melt. But so food, steel isn't food, okay. But when I looked at Webster, it said any nutritious substance that people or animals eat or drink, or that plants absorb in order to maintain life and growth. So it's saying the same thing. Something that you need to consume in order to maintain life and growth, right? And growth is a positive. Not one person in that room said that. So then you would go, okay, so what does that mean? Is it apple food? I would say yeah. Is it steak food? I would say yeah. So what's not food? And that's where the real focus is, right? Let me bring up one more thing. Enzymes. Okay, so food, the substance, this is another definition, on which an enzyme acts. So then you got to understand, okay, well, what the hell is an enzyme? An enzyme is a substance produced by a living organism which acts as a catalyst, right? Like a vehicle to bring about specific biochemical reactions. Okay. So an enzyme, basically think of that as a carrier. That's what's going to help make everything move and get to where it needs to be. And if it's not taking it somewhere it needs to be to help with life and growth, then it's definitely not a food. Okay, this is getting good. So now when I had everybody listening, I said, okay, so now that we have a better understanding what food is, I said, what ingredient do people consume that does not help with maintaining life or helping nurture our bodies and health for growth? What is something that people are eating on a regular basis that is taking away from their health because it's not a food? And when you look at like the mitochondria, which is the powerhouse, that's the batteries that makes our cells do what they do. That's the thing that makes us feel good enough to get up in the morning and go for a walk and to do things, right? And inside of the mitochondria, that cell, which more and more they're starting to like look at as a way to measure or project the health or longevity of a person, is what's going on inside of that mitochondria. I know Steve Harvey, the actor comedian, has a product that he's selling, and he talks, it's all framed around mitochondria. He's right as far as it's framed around mitochondria. But inside of the mitochondria, we have certain activities that are taking place. ATP is one of them. And when ATP goes down, you basically go down as far as energy and your ability to maximize burning calories. And when you're a young person, like a Michael Phelps, right? Remember Michael Phelps, you guys? Okay, let me see. Let me bring up a little branding here. Remember Michael Phelps. I want you to think about Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps won a whole bunch of gold medals in the Olympics. Amazing swimmer. And they estimated he was consuming somewhere between 10 and 13,000 calories each and every day. He was not gaining weight. Matter of fact, he was working hard to keep weight on. Now, was he exercising to the point that he's burning that many calories? No. But what we do know is that his ATP, his mitochondria, was on fire. And this is a good example of like when people are younger, adolescents, in the early 20s. If you remember, losing weight was much easier. And a lot of that is because your ATP and that mitochondria in your cells was way higher. And over time, we damage it, and it comes down, and everything gets more challenging. Okay, we know this for a fact. But there's one ingredient. It's actually more than one. But there's one ingredient that I'm going to highlight that people are consuming that is literally 1,000% not a food. It is not food. Okay. Anybody want to take a shot and give me an answer? Like, what is it? What is it that we are consuming? A lot of people are eating on a regular basis, and it literally blocks your body's ability to oxidize fat. That means to burn it. It causes your mitochondria, that cell that we're talking about, to become defective. It's an ingredient that people are consuming on a regular basis. Okay. Sandy says sucralose. Drum roll. Brrr. Nope, it's not sucralose. Now, there's some negatives with sucralose, same as there's some negatives with aspartame. There's some negatives with saccharin, but it's not sucralose. Okay, someone says the answer is sugar. And then Catherine says the answer is sugar. Now, I want you to be as specific as possible because there's sugars called galactose. There's sugars called lactose. There's sugars called fructose. There's sugars called glucose, sucrose. What sugar are we talking about? Are we saying all sugar? Are we saying all sugar? So remember, this substrate I'm referring to, it literally inhibits your ability to burn fat. It is not essential for life. We are not even designed to consume it nowhere near the amounts that we do consume it. It blocks your ability to metabolize, to burn fat. And it builds up in our bodies. And even though we know what the true definition is of food is, the government, manufacturers, food companies, they put it in a lot of stuff. And it's not food. It's not food. Okay. So there's a question. I'm going to give you the answer. And a lot of people are like, wait a minute, what is he talking about? Like, how does this pertain to me? If you don't know this, then God bless you. If you want to help other people, you better know this. We know what food is. So now what is the food that we want to avoid that's causing all the problems? The food that we want to avoid, you guys answered it. It's fructose. It's fructose. Now, high fructose corn syrup, that is fructose. Now, there's fructose that naturally occurs in fruit and vegetables. It naturally occurs in fruits and vegetables. That's not the kind of fructose that's damaging. It's the fructose that has been extracted or our bodies produce, which I've talked about, that can cause all the problems. It's the fructose that is contributing toward fatty liver. It's the fructose that is a disruptor for our mitochondria and is causing our ATP to drop. It causes us to be hungry. It contributes toward insulin resistance. It contributes towards leptin resistance. A lot of these things I'm saying for the first time, some of it may make sense, may not, but fructose is a major disruptor. So how do you avoid fructose? Well, first you got to be aware. So the conversation we're having right now is putting you in a position where you are aware. That's step one. Then when you're looking at sodas or you're looking at chips or you're looking at different things like that, just know that fructose is not a food, right? So if you look at the ingredient and you see extra virgin olive oil as one of the ingredients, well, that's a food. Now, I talked about, Chick-fil-A the other day, and they have the sandwich I just happened to be looking at, and it had 55 ingredients in it, right? So this is something that makes up chicken. You have like some veggies or whatever on it. You got the bread, and, they got their sauces. So just all of that, right? Because chicken has one ingredient. But you're eating a chicken sandwich that has 55 ingredients. And the majority of those ingredients are man-made, meaning they are not food. Like a tomato has one ingredient, it's called a tomato. It's food. Lettuce has one ingredient, lettuce. It's food. A pickle has one ingredient, unless they're, soaking it in something and they're adding things to it. But with a lot of these foods that are being created from scratch and being created in labs, they're not food. In order for it to be food, it must contribute toward nurturing our health, great growth, and maintaining life. Now, some of these foods they're starting to come out with that are manufactured in the lab, they need to prove that it's really food. And if it's not food, the right thing to do is for them to be honest with us and let us know. I want to consume food that helps me maintain life and nurture positive growth with my health and my body. That's what I want food. I want food. Now, if I ate something that had high fructose corn syrup in it, would I freak out? Absolutely not. Because it's not a staple. I'm not eating high fructose corn syrup every day. I'm consuming it, maybe I eat something, I go, oh man, it had high fructose corn syrup in it. Or maybe someone has a soda or whatever and they want me to taste it and I drink it. I'm not going to that's not a big deal. It's the compound effect that creates the challenge. Now, some people will use what I just said and they will use that to block themselves from optimizing their situation. What I mean by that is that they will come up with moments where it's okay instead of just saying, I don't do that. And if you check back on that person, they're consuming way more of it than they ever thought. So there you go. So I guess at the end of the day, it's not so much what is food, is identifying what food isn't. And if it's not food, and you can see that it's not food, like fructose, then hey, we're good. So anyway, something that I wanted to share, because now you know. And I would say, if you wanted to simplify it, if someone says, so what is food? Or you could ask them what is food. But the answer really is, it's something that people and animals can eat or drink, or plants can absorb in order to maintain life and growth. That's it. Maintain life or growth. All right, so I'm going to go there. I'm going to share one more thing with you. There's 3 macronutrients. There's 3 macronutrients: proteins, carbohydrates, fats. There's 3 of them. 2 of them are essential, meaning if you don't eat 2 of the 3 macronutrients, you will die. You will die. So give me your answer, you guys. Which of the 3 macronutrients is not essential? Meaning you don't have to eat it to live. You don't have to eat it to live. 2 of the macronutrients you must eat or you will die. 1 of them you don't have to eat and you can still live. We got protein, carbohydrates, and fats. Now somebody already knows the answer, and I bet they're just going to just spoil it for everybody else because maybe I shared it with them in the coaching session. Okay, so I'm seeing some good answers, which is like, that means that I've been coaching those people. Okay, so here's the answer. Think about this. Protein, we know, is essential because you have essential amino acids. Those are the building blocks that make protein. So there's 9 essential amino acids, meaning you must consume them in order to live. Essential amino acids. You guys with me? Okay. So now, drum roll, we know we must consume protein. And by the way, you can get essential amino acids in plants and fruit. You don't have to eat meat. Fruits, plants, veggies, you can get all your essential amino acids there as well as in protein. But essential amino acids are essential. So if it comes down to carbohydrates and fat, which one is not essential? Meaning you don't have to eat it between carbs and fats. Come on, somebody. Which one is not essential? Carbohydrates or fats? Okay, let's see how smart we are when it comes to, because, it's funny because when people get me as their coach, they're not just working with me just to tell them what to do and lose weight. They want to know about nutrition. And most people, as I shared with you earlier, I put it out there, they don't know the basics of nutrition. And these are people who teach nutrition. These are doctors and dietitians and personal trainers. So then they're sharing information. And if you're not informed, you're just going to take on what they say, and then you're not going to go fact check it. And I want you to fact check me. I like people to be informed. I want you to be informed. So nobody wants to take a guess now. See? Because we made a mistake. We thought it was protein. Okay. So we know that protein is essential. So you have to have that. So between carbohydrates and fats, I'm asking the question, which one is not essential? Meaning you do not have to eat it to live. One of them you must eat to live. Okay, nobody wants to take a shot at it, huh? Okay. So Sandy says carbs. So I'm thinking, Sandy, are you saying you don't need to eat carbs to live? Or are you saying that carbs is what you need and you don't need to eat fat to live? So confirm, and then I'll answer, and then I'm out of here. Come on. Let's go. Come on, Sandy. Somebody type in. Tell me, come on. I need an answer. I need an answer. I need an answer. See how people get quiet if we don't know? Just take a guess. Okay, I'll give you guys the answer. What you don't need is carbohydrates. you must eat fat. You've heard of essential amino acids. You've also heard of essential fatty acids like omega-3. They always talk about eat more omega-3, eat your salmon, get some fish, get some walnuts, and omega-6. So fats are essential, protein are essential. You do not need carbs to live. Now, I've taught you guys that the body can create glucose without you eating it. It can create carbs in your body. Now, in no way am I saying don't eat carbs. I'm just sharing with you they're not essential because we're talking about real food. And inside of the carb world, which we want to eat because it helps with dietary fiber, that helps our colon, we don't want fructose because fructose, as is man-made, not the fructose in fruit and vegetables, but any fructose that's been extracted and been made from like breaking down corn and all that is not food when it comes to our body. It creates disruption. It blocks your ability to burn fat. It lowers your ATP, so your mitochondria cells are not working at their highest level. That means it ages you faster. There's nothing but negatives that come about because of that one ingredient. So now you know. And when you know, as I always say, you know. And when you don't know, you better ask somebody. Okay. So there you go. Another reason to keep your eyes open. Keep your label detective hat on. Fructose is not our friend. And now you know the definition of food is. You know what food is. So the more foods you consume, the healthier you will be. I'm Robert Ferguson. Thank you guys for giving me a chance to share information with you. I'll be back on Thursday. But if you don't want to miss anything, just make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe, hit the bell, and then whenever I share information, you can always access it whenever you want. You can go listen to or watch replays. Otherwise, you're taking a risk if you only catch me on LinkedIn or Facebook or one of the other platforms that we share this kind of information. I just don't want you to miss out, because when you miss out, you miss out. You know what I mean? And this is all about like keeping you informed. And we want you to be informed so you don't have to listen to those people who are misinformed. I'm Robert Ferguson. Until the next one, peace.